the whole conspiracy theory mindset about how ancient Indians had spaceships and robots and advanced machinery. I hope that you, by understanding this little thing that I'm pointing out, are able to come around to the way of thinking that makes it very clear that just because you want ancient India to be advanced technologically, you don't have to give it Western properties. I have been wondering why so many young people, or even not so young people in India, think that in ancient India we had advanced modern technology that looked and worked much like advanced modern technology of today, or even technology that is not yet come into being but is the cutting edge of what we imagine the future will be like. I was wondering why there are so many people in India who think that this is the case, when I noticed that many of these people don't actually have a formal education in history, archaeology, anthropology, etc. They're basically not humanities students, they're engineers, right? So I have a theory about this, and you let me know what you think of it. This goes for people like, conspiracy theorists, etc., but also for people who find that conspiracy theories are a very good way of building social media clout these days. You just lie about stuff that will make people happy by praising their culture or their presumed understanding of their culture. First of all, these people call other people colonized, right? The defining characteristic of these people is that they ride on a sense of victimhood. They try to project themselves as decolonized, as if they are not looking at the world through a Western lens or a colonial lens. And they call other people colonized minds as if they are looking at the world through a Western or colonized lens. I have made videos about this previously, and I have pointed out that the reality is actually the exact opposite, and I wanted to build on top of that. I think these people are the real colonized minds. They have one lens through which they look at the world, and that lens has been provided to them through their education in the sciences. And fortunately or unfortunately, the education that they have received is Western. It was developed in the West, it was formulated in the West, it was presented to us in Western languages through a Western system, and that is the system that we all went through and got our educations. Since they don't have an understanding of how historians do their work, how archaeologists do their work, how anthropologists do their work, they look at these subjects also through their one lens, and that is the lens prepared by the West. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with the lens. I'm saying this lens is probably not very useful when looking at sociological phenomena. These lenses are very useful when you're looking at universal things like science and technology and gravity and forces of nature. But they're not very useful when you are evaluating specific cultural phenomena like architecture or the way people lived or how people did things. So, what happens to these people is that you're an engineer and you have developed an interest in ancient history or heritage or culture, and you don't know how to explore that interest. Your view of your past is being colored through the colonial lens through which you are looking at things. You grew up studying science and technology through a Western lens, and it created an understanding in your mind that science and technology are Western by nature, that they cannot have any other form, that it is not possible for something called Indian technology or African technology or Taiwanese technology to exist. So, when you think of technology, the only thing that comes to your mind is Western technology. And when you say technology was something that ancient Indians had, you automatically give them that imagined Western technology. Your colonized mind was given the impression that nothing good can come out of India, that the only sophisticated way of doing technology is Western. So now, even when you want to praise ancient India, with the best of intentions, I presume, you end up reinforcing that same idea that in order for ancient India to be technologically advanced, it has to be Western. It has to be lathe machines or lasers or iPhones or iPads. Your imaginations have failed to imagine something Indian. That is why I call your imaginations colonized. It will take a little bit of work to wrap your head around it, but if you are someone who has been taken in by all the ancient technology hype, the whole conspiracy theory mindset about how ancient Indians had spaceships and robots and advanced machinery, I hope that you, by understanding this little thing that I'm pointing out, are able to come around to the way of thinking that makes it very clear that just because you want ancient India to be advanced technologically, you don't have to give it Western properties. It is possible for India to be advanced in ancient times in its own way. The fact that you cannot imagine it only proves one thing, and that is that you don't have the training that is required to imagine India, ancient India in this case, in Indian ways. Your imagination, I don't want to use the word corrupted, but I think it applies in this case. Your imaginations have been corrupted to such a great level that you cannot even imagine your own country's heritage as advanced.